Okay, well, it's that time of year again. Our forecast finally changed and says that it's supposed to drop to 31 tonight. So I guess that solves the problem of having to come out and, I don't know, pick those zucchinis every day. Goodness. Anyway, since our weather is going to start turning colder now, I figure this is as good a time as any to do a test run on the pellet stove in the greenhouse because, well, the pellets have been sitting in there all summer, so they're probably getting a little moisture heavy. So I've taken my little exhaust hack job that I use. Normally I keep that folded up against the greenhouse so it's not in the way of the mower, but I just pull it out like that since it's a flexible tube. And it just stays there all winter. I do that because any ash blowback from that on the greenhouse just makes a huge mess, and then I have to repaint the thing the next year. So let's go in here where all the humidity is right now. I'm not even joking. If it's 99% in here, wouldn't surprise me a bit. All I know is my glasses fogged up immediately. Gosh, if I could run my phone here. Let's see. Yeah, 99.9%. I don't know if the screen can, or the camera can see the screen or not. Yeah, kind of. Anyway, set that down and let my glasses adjust to the humidity. For those that are new to this channel and haven't seen what I've done here, when I built the greenhouse, I got this pellet stove. It was, well, the person selling it said that the main board was shot. It wasn't at that time, but it eventually did go bad. What was wrong is that all of the vacuum switches inside were plugged up with ashes. He never bothered cleaning it. That's all it came down to. And when I got it, it didn't have this big hopper up on the back here. It only held one 40-pound bag of pellets when I got it. And after a year of coming out here, you know, like every other day with another bag of pellets, filling it up, that got annoying. So I had a cousin of mine build the hopper for me. I went and got some sheet metal cut, 1/8" sheet metal cut, and he welded it together and brought it over, put that on there, and now it holds about 2.5 bags, you know, 40-pound bags of pellets. So I don't have to come out here as much. You know, I might have to come out here once a day to light it, because even though it does have an electric igniter in there, those things burn out so fast that I don't even bother with it, because it's a pain in the butt to replace it just for it to last a year. No, not worth my time. But to show you what I've done here, let me check something. Okay. If you see inside of the stove, there's a horseshoe-shaped pipe that's right above the burn pot. Well, there's water in there, and in that insulation covered plastic barrel is water. And then down there is a circulation pump for, you know, like a hydronic system, heating system in a person's house. And that's controlled by, if I can get that thing in there, yeah, a little temperature controller there. So when, and its sensor is right there on this discharge pipe. So when that water starts boiling inside there, once it reaches 150 degrees, that little pump kicks on and it shoves water through there, and you can't really see it because I've got all my water lines buried, but it comes around. See if I can turn my camera downward. As you can see, there is a stainless steel coil in there. That's just natural gas line, you know, for a stove that's had the insulation peeled off. And that slug of hot water from the pellet stove gets pumped into that. I'm gonna turn this camera down. Anybody ever seen, if these fish would get out of the way, that Placo down on the bottom? Anybody ever seen one that size before? That thing came from Walmart probably 7 or 8 years ago, about 3 inches long, and now it's easily 2 feet long, and his head is as big as my fist. So while these koi in here might look like they're small, they're really not. That fish down in the bottom is just absolutely huge. And there he goes, one lonely tilapia left. I don't care what anybody says, tilapia really are not the best for aquaponics, especially in cold regions, because they can't tolerate cold weather. They'll die. It doesn't take much to kill them. Whereas with koi, you could let a pond freeze over and they'll survive the winter just fine. So anyway, back to this stove. Alright, you can see I've got pellets down in there. Now I know there's going to be some people who think, oh God, Larry, this is a terrible thing to do. You're not supposed to use this stuff. Well, I do it anyway. I use just plain old charcoal lighter fluid. Put that back. And I light it. The stuff doesn't burn long enough to build up any creosote in there. So I really don't care. Let me switch this back. Return. Now, the computer that controls this, I wrote the software and put a web interface on it so I can control it from my phone. There, I turn that on and there's about a 30-second delay. And you'll hear the motors kick on, the blower. They're worn out. I have replacements inside, but I have no need to replace them just because of noise. I don't live out here. So give that a minute to kick on. Not a minute, should be less than 30 seconds now. It'll be louder than this inflation blower off to my right that's making that buzzing noise. Oh, there, finally it took off. All right, so I'll close the door on that. I'll trim out that extra gap there. I don't know what the delay was, but yeah, the computer that runs that, it's a Raspberry Pi computer. A hack job that I built, and over here is a solid state relay on the front door of it that controls the blowers, the auger motors, all that. So the Raspberry Pi computer, it controls everything in here as far as temperature, climate control. The the exhaust fans, there's a blast heater I use on the other end in the winter, so if it ever drops below 38 degrees at night, that thing will kick on and raise it up to 48. And due to the fact that the greenhouse has 2 layers of poly that are inflated, it retains heat in here really well, so that other heater doesn't hardly kick on. It might kick, if it's like below 0, it could kick on maybe once every 20 or 30 minutes for about 4 minutes, something like that. But it's nothing real bad. And let's see, what do we got over here? These are the other fish in the other tank, or other tanks. More koi. Like I said, I don't plan on eating my fish. They're just here to provide an engine for the aquaponics system. Alright, so that's about that. Just figured I'd show people how this works. You don't have to do things as geeky as I did. A person could just as easily do it with off-the-shelf smart home devices, but I write software. I like having absolute 100% control over everything. So that's all I got for this. We'll catch you around next time. Bye.